This video is going to be a quick tutorial about how to use schematics with Valkyrien Skies. So first off, schematics are part of Create Mod, and they allow you to save your build as a file, to use as either a backup or to share with other people. The first thing you're going to want to do is to disassemble all the contraptions that are on your build. So that means you right click all the bearings and disassemble all the Create Big Cannons that you have. For example, I'll right click on this bearing and you'll hear a clunk. When you hear the clunk, that means it's been disassembled. You'll also notice I have this bounding box around the build. To get this, I press F3 and I hold B. Hold down F3 and press B and the boxes will appear. You'll notice that if I reassemble this, well, the bounding box is going to be lowered. That's because when a contraption is assembled, the game doesn't see it as part of the ship. So if I go and disassemble it again, it's going to be part of the ship and not its own contraption. You have to do this, otherwise you won't be able to save it as a schematic. So the next step is to build all the way out to the bounding box. So what I've done is I've taken yellow wool and I've built it from the build, so it's not on the grid, it's really built off of the build. And I built it all the way up to the bounding box. So we'll just place a few more blocks. And the reason why I do it this way is it makes it obvious that it's not actually part of the build, it's just something that we're using as part of the process. So why do we do this? Well, let's see. I've selected the schematic in Quill, and I'll right click here. And you'll see that it's kind of freaking out, right? It's trying to select something that's far away. I think that's because the ship is actually stored millions of blocks away and it's just projected right here in front of us. So we can't really scroll like we would with a normal build. You see I'm scrolling right now and it's just kind of not working how you'd expect it to. So the only way to really place your schematics is to select the first point at one corner and then select another point at the opposite corner. And this way we've selected our ship. I'll right click another time and I'll be able to save the schematic. To get the schematics, we'll go to a schematic table. We'll scroll down until we find our file. We'll place an empty schematic here and click the check mark. We'll then grab the schematic out of here and we can place it. The next step is to turn it back into a ship. To do that, you place the physics infuser and you have to make sure to blooper glue everything to it. So right now I'm trying to blooper glue everything back together and you'll notice that, well, it says that the blocks must be connected, but they're connected, aren't they? They're going through here. Well, actually no, because what happened is that when I brought the build back into the world, well, these bearings, they reassembled themselves. So if I go to my controller and I move them, they're moving, and they only move when they're assembled. So I have to disassemble them again. I don't know if this is always going to be the case, but it happened this time. So now I'll try again. And now I can glue over them. So there's a problem, and you see it says the selected area is too big, so I'm gonna have to do this bit by bit. So I'll do as much as I can, and I'll just make sure that I glue the whole plane together. And once everything is all glued up, we can activate the physics infuser. And I'll finish removing this yellow wool. And sometimes you'll have bugs like this. So there was a gearbox right here and there was another bearing. So I'll just put those back in place. So you might have to re-glue your flaps because they get disassociated somehow. You'll see the glue that was on the flaps, well, it stays in the air when the ship gets assembled. So you have to redo all the glue. Don't worry about the glue in the air, that's not gonna affect us in any way. It's only the glue here that we have to worry about. And success, we have brought in our plane from a schematic file and we've reassembled it into a ship.